The power framework is absolutely relevant to the way we manage the world of work and even our personal lives. But let me share a story about how the power framework worked out in my extensive corporate career. So power, the first letter is P. Priorities. Of course, during a merger, we needed to know what were the philosophical underpinnings of the merger. What is it that we wanted to accomplish? What were the guiding principles? P, you have to be absolutely clear about the vision and the purpose, of the new company. O, obligations. What were my obligations as the head of workforce, the policy and internal consulting role? It was my obligation to create and leverage best practices and implement them, design them and implement them and communicate them rigorously throughout the organization from the top down to the frontline employee. So that was my obligation, to make the workplace fair and respectful so everyone had an equal chance of succeeding. W, was it worth my while? Absolutely, that's what I'm all about. It's about helping other people succeed, giving every person a chance. So I really gave it my all and then some. It was worth some of the sacrifices that I made, some of the sacrifices and probably not paying attention as much to family, but balancing family with intensive merger activity. Okay, and this was 4 mergers in 13 years. Okay, mergers, sometimes it takes a while. So absolutely worthwhile. Was I energized by it? Absolutely. Oh my God. There was no shortage of problems to address, and there were no limits to possibilities. We were totally unconstrained to designing innovative programs. And at the time, the Chase human resource practices were among the most progressive in the industry. I didn't know that at the time. But it was energizing to create the first framework, to create the first network, to create the first call center, to create new human resource technologies, and to cascade it throughout the organization across the country and globally. Last but not least, resources. Well, I had a team of 9 people at one point. How do you accomplish all of this with 9 people? Well, everyone steps out of their own job description, as I said. But I didn't have enough resources. So making sure that I went out and recruited people who had influence, people who had passion, people who had knowledge, and people who cared about designing programs, policies that would work the best in the front line. I'm sitting in headquarters. I don't know what happens in a call center in Phoenix. I don't know what happens in a call center in Texas. I need people on the ground who would be able to fill those gaps. So being resourceful was absolutely a critical success factor, and the resources were not only internal, they were external. I sat on a lot of industry groups and benchmarking teams. So when I picked up the phone and called one of my competitors to ask them how they did something, they would openly share it right away. So being resourceful is a critical success factor. So I ascribe to the power framework.